The airplane cabin was tense. Passengers shifted uncomfortably in their seats, some groaning, others rolling their eyes. A baby, just a few rows ahead, was crying endlessly. The kind of crying that pierced through noise-canceling headphones, rattled nerves, and made even the flight attendants glance at each other helplessly. The child's father, a sharply dressed Arab man in his early 40s, looked utterly defeated. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his tie loosened, his once confident aura fading under the weight of frustration and exhaustion. He was a millionaire businessman, used to commanding boardrooms, sealing billion-dollar deals, but here, at 35,000 feet in the air, he looked powerless. Passengers whispered, "Why doesn't he know how to handle his own kid? Must be nice being rich and not knowing real responsibility." No one saw the desperation in his eyes. No one cared that he was traveling alone, recently widowed, and struggling to raise a daughter who had barely turned one. Except for one pair of eyes, bright, curious, and kind. She belonged to a little girl named Emma, just 8 years old, sitting quietly beside her father, a single dad, a former soldier who had learned long ago that the smallest acts of kindness sometimes mattered more than the grandest gestures. Emma tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy, can I go help the baby?" Her father hesitated. The last thing he wanted was to intrude on someone else's struggle. But Emma's gaze was steady, full of the same courage he had once carried onto battlefields. He nodded softly. "Go on, sweetheart. Be gentle." Emma slipped out of her seat and walked down the aisle, her small steps echoing louder than she realized. The millionaire glanced up, tired and embarrassed, expecting more judgment. Instead, he saw a little girl offering the purest smile. "Hi," Emma whispered. "Can I hold her? I'm good with babies." For a moment, the man didn't know how to respond. No one had ever spoken to him with such simple kindness since his wife's death. His instinct said no, but something in Emma's innocence made him say yes. And then, the unthinkable happened. The moment Emma held the baby, the crying stopped. Just stopped. The cabin fell silent. Passengers lifted their heads in disbelief. Emma began humming softly, a lullaby her own late mother used to sing to her. The baby nestled against her chest, breathing calmly for the first time since takeoff. The Arab millionaire's eyes welled up. He pressed his hand over his mouth, struggling to contain the flood of emotions. It wasn't just the silence. It was the reminder of his late wife, the lullaby she used to sing. Somehow, this little girl carried that same warmth. Emma's father watched quietly from his seat. For years, he had raised her alone, teaching her to be strong yet compassionate. And now, he saw those lessons bloom before the eyes of strangers. The plane was no longer a battlefield of impatience, it was transformed by a child's innocence. People who had once rolled their eyes now smiled. A flight attendant whispered, "That's incredible." The millionaire leaned closer to Emma's father. His voice cracked. "Sir, thank you. You don't know what this means. My wife passed away a year ago. My daughter, she hasn't slept through a flight since. I thought I was failing her." The single dad placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "You're not failing. You're learning. And sometimes, it takes a village. Even at 35,000 feet. When the flight landed, the millionaire didn't rush out like the others. He stood, humbled, and asked Emma a question. "Would you allow me the honor of keeping in touch? You've given me hope tonight." Emma smiled and nodded shyly. As the passengers disembarked, one older woman whispered to the dad, "You should be proud. The world needs more children like her." He smiled softly. "The world needs more chances to show kindness. My daughter just took hers." Closing message. Kindness is not measured in money, power, or status. It lives in small, selfless moments. Sometimes, the greatest heroes are not the ones in suits or uniforms, but little girls who carry love in their hearts. And for one grieving father, high above the clouds, a stranger's daughter gave him the one thing he thought he had lost forever: peace.